Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to a brand new YouTube video. We here at Zoo Culture, back again after a while. I hadn't been coming here for like maybe like a month or so, just because Kane had a surgery. I didn't want to go too far from home. I was leaving Kane at home, so I didn't want to bring him to the gym and get him excited while he was on, medication, and he was throwing up here and there, just from medication. So anyways, I'm back here, so I'm able to film videos. I just don't feel comfortable filming at other gyms because it's not really made for that. A gym is a place to work out. It's not a place for content unless the gym is a gym for content, right? There's so much space here. It's pretty empty. Everybody's filming, so it's more of that environment. I'm not the type to go to like a dungeon gym and film. I just think it's like, I wouldn't film at Fit Nation, unless it was, almost closing time and it was empty. But anyway, I'm back here. We got legs on the menu. I'm gonna go full legs, so quads, hammies, the whole nine. But I'm gonna cut the volume down a little bit. My food is getting pretty low. I mean, it's extremely low compared to most people, but for me, it's like pretty low. So if I don't come back on volume, my performance goes to shit and my fatigue builds up and then I look like shit. So I don't want to look like shit, so I'm gonna cut back on volume. So check it out. I'm making a point to not go beyond failure, to stop at failure, and not compromise my form too much, at least, but not much at all, to get extra reps. I'd rather just do another set and get my volume that way rather than pushing past failure, set after set after set. That just builds some unnecessary fatigue, And I'm not one of those fatigue guys. I'm not one of those everything is fatigue, don't row, don't do anything because fatigue, don't squat. Anything fatigue, don't do it, don't stand up, you gotta lay down. I'm not one of those guys. But when your calories are low, you do have to mind fatigue. Off season, go crazy. It's hard to overdo anything off season because your food is so high. But in prep, I've learned that it's not about the balls to wall or any of that shit. It's not about the Machiavelli motivation videos. If you can't recover, you will fuck your prep, you will fuck your body, and you will look like shit, okay? I was training harder than anybody, 5, 8 years ago. But I looked worse and worse and worse the harder I trained. Fucking front squatting 5 plates 2 weeks out is not a flex. You're just destroying your body to look like shit on stage. Just to tell everybody, yeah, I trained harder than you. Who gives a fuck? You lost. So you do have to let that ego go. But it's okay to have some pride in training hard though at the same time. All right, I'll do one more set here. I know I just said I don't want to go past failure, but it's like, how do you really know where failure is, It's like almost like I have to still do that one more rep just to see if I could do a full rep, just to make sure it's failure. That first set, I didn't have to do that. I knew I failed. This one's kind of like, when you lighten the weight a little bit, it's like, right, do I got more? Nope, I don't. Put it back. This is kind of more advanced though. Like, if I'm being honest, like, the first 10 years of lifting, I didn't even think about that shit. And think about not going past failure. Like, it was go bury yourself in the floor. I could handle it. 23 years old, you should be able to bury yourself in the fucking ground and pop back out, no problem. You shouldn't even have to think about this. So maybe late 20s, depending on how long you've been training. And depending on how low you have to go on food. If your food is high, I mean, you should be good to go. Alright, we did some good girls, now we're gonna do some bad girls. Abduction for the glutes. A good way to remember abduction versus adduction is to abduct, right? To take away, right? So you abduct the fucking child. I don't know why I use that example, but abduct the fucking dog. You're taking away. So if this is the midpoint, you're abducting from the midpoint, which would be midpoint, abduct from the midpoint. You're going away from the center line, right? And then adduction, well, I don't got one for adduction, but it's gonna be the other one, so you'll figure it out. Sorry, Kane was in the way. Alright, first movement for hammies. Start the party with some lying leg curls on the Arsenal machine. Arsenal machines are pretty heavy, but honestly, like I never felt like hamstring curls are heavy enough. That might just be me. I think when you come from a sports background, you tend to have stronger glutes and hammies, but I wish they were a bit heavier because although I use the gym pin, on this machine, when you add the gym pin, man, it gets a little sticky. I'm not gonna lie, it gets a little sticky. I could tell like this weight stack for some reason, it doesn't do well with added weight. It works great on the adductor machine though, the gym pin, but on this one, any added weight, just the more weight you add, it gets funky. So I can only get away with 25, which is probably more than enough right now. Where my strength is at, I think it's more than enough, but I don't know. I would love if they made it heavier. Using the stack, I don't think is a flex. I think having big muscles is the flex. So I'm team make the stacks heavier, so we don't have to do all of this adding weight stuff. But if you do gotta do adding weight stuff, use code MACHO at GymPin. I think it's Macho 20 actually. Well, try Macho 20. If that don't work, then try Macho. See, fucking bullshit. It got like sticky. That's what I was fucking talking about. Alright, we're gonna keep going though. I won't let that fuck me up. Kind of fucked up my set. Kind of upset at that. It did that thing where it kind of got stuck at the bottom. That's why I don't like adding weights to the fucking this stack. I'm gonna just start doing going to failure. I don't care if it's 20, 25 reps. I'd rather do that or do a really slow 10 to 15. But I hate that feeling that when it gets stuck, it's like you don't feel like you're working anything. You're just like fighting against a fucking like a fucking wall. Like somebody holding your leg down. It's like stupid. But that's my fault. I already knew there was a chance. I knew there was a chance that might happen. I did anyway, so blame yourself. Can't be mad at the weights. I blame myself. All right, we hit some hacks, baby. I felt like I haven't done this in a while, but I have, just not on this machine. I've been training at a different gym with a weird ass hack press, with a weird ass hack squat. So this is something I'm more used to. So I won't start with like my max or anything, just because I don't know where my strength is at in correlation with this machine. And I'm also 30 pounds lighter. So wait, one at a time. Woo, about to pass out.
I'm about to get my second order.
Oh yeah?
That one works good.
Alright, we're gonna do some pendulum squats. I don't feel like leg pressing today. Sometimes I don't really connect with it that much. And I just like squatting. Just getting really deep in the hole. That's when I feel the most out of my quads. Leg press is a little harder to get in that hole. I still do, but it's not as, I don't know, I can't get as deep in the hole just because my stomach and legs kind of push against each other. Whereas here, I could really go calf to ass.
showed any kind of look or emotion that didn't say kill, right? There's this look of bewilderment in my eyes that people pick up on right away.
Wrestling
it's
thing.
Like, whoa, look at Undertaker.
You're talking about Kane. When Kane first hit the scene as Undertaker's brother. Yo, that shit had got me so hyped back in the day. Oh shit. Tombstone. That was my childhood, man. That shit was big too.
It was the first time I felt like a WWE superstar.
Those was good times, man. I don't watch wrestling. I haven't watched wrestling since I was a kid. I don't know, man. It's one of those things. It's like video games. Like, I know adults play video games, and I mean, video games are really for adults technically, but it's like, I don't know. Some things like that it's more nostalgic for me. Nostalgic for me, but I don't have the desire to do those things anymore. But when I look back and think about it, oh, I got my glasses on. It's makes me feel good in my stomach, you know. But I don't think I could watch wrestling like today. Maybe if I got really high, I would probably rather go back and watch old matches, man. It was just like an era I fell in love with. I don't think I would enjoy this era. And I'm sure it's good though, you know, but it's one of those things. Sound like one of them old bodybuilders. 90s, baby. But anyways, back home, we trained legs today, and I think I kind of hinted to it in the beginning of the video about lowering volume. Pretty sure I touched on that, but to elaborate on that, yeah, I decided to cut volume a bit just to make sure I'm recovering. When I get to the gym and I don't know, and I feel like it's a drag to work out, that's a problem. You know, you got to know yourself. You have to know yourself, and I'm somebody who loves to fucking work out. So when I don't love it, there's a problem, you know. It doesn't matter how low my food is, how shitty I feel, how tired I am. I love the gym. I genuinely love it. So I know it's a weird metric to gauge, but for myself, it works pretty well. That feeling correlates with me overtraining. The reason that I don't want to work out is because I'm tired as shit. But I'm so used to being tired. Sometimes I don't realize I'm tired, you know, until I give myself rest, and I'm like, damn, this is what I'm supposed to feel like. I'm not supposed to feel like shit all the time, you know. So when I get that feeling, because especially if you're on prep, if you get tired, you just chalk it up to my food is low. I know it's early in prep, but my food is pretty low. It just, you know. Anyways, yeah. So in this way, when I get that feeling, I'll pull back volume a little bit, and what happens is usually what happened today. I actually get a better pump, and I finished the workout feeling good. You know, my legs are wiped, but I'm feeling good. There's a difference between your legs being taxed and your whole nervous system being taxed. You don't want that. Okay, you don't want that. That's why I kind of don't squat and deadlift as often anymore, because my whole nervous system gets taxed. Whereas I want my legs to be taxed, but I want to be recovered from a nervous system standpoint so it doesn't creep into my next workout, right? My legs could be fucking battered, but if I'm training pull or push, it won't be affected. You know, if my entire nervous system is shot, it kind of just compiles till I could barely get out of bed. You know, then I'm wondering why, you know, it's so hard to do cardio. You know, so these are things you just learn. You learn the hard way. And you have to make mistakes to learn. Like, you can't know better if you've never fucked up. You know, you can't know how full you need to be if you've never been flat. You can't know how conditioned you need to be if you've never been not conditioned enough. So it's a game of learning. I was actually just talking to Chris Fine, and he was asking me stuff, kind of picking my brain. We were just kind of talking, and it's like he's like, he's trying to figure out where I am, like how long you been doing it and stuff like that. And I was telling him how it's funny because I consider myself a bodybuilder since my first show, but I wasn't a fucking bodybuilder. I wasn't even close to bodybuilder. I was just a guy who liked to work out and eat whatever the fuck he wanted and party and drink and do all this shit. And then prep. But I would prep for 12 weeks, and 6 of those weeks were like I was cheating a lot, And then I would really prep for 6 weeks, and I would be able to win, if not my class, the overall, at local shows. And it was like, oh, cool, I guess I'll do nationals now. And I wasn't cheating, prepping for nationals, but I was just doing preps, but there was no off season. I thought you could just, it's hard to explain because it sounds stupid, but like, how we used to watch bodybuilders like Marcus Rule eat whatever they want off season, like burgers and whatever they want, and they're just like, yo, I just get enough protein, that's it, right? And Marcus was fucking huge, or Lee Priest was fucking huge and ate like shit off season, right? You don't understand, like, those are the genetic elites. They're elites. They're not normal, and I'm above average still, right? I'm still above average because I was able to be a pretty good heavyweight on the local level doing this bullshit. Whereas some people could never win a local show being a perfect bodybuilder, right? So it's like I'm above average, but compared to these guys, I can't do what they do. I can't fuck off and do whatever I want off season and just prep for a show like Kevin Levrone, or that's an extreme example. Kevin is a whole different beast, but like a Lee Priest or I don't know, Chris Cormier, or I can't do these things. I can't go partying. I just can't. I can't do these things and make solid gains. I make some gains, because I am training really hard. I've always trained really hard and heavy, and I eat the food and take the drugs. So maybe I would make 5 pounds of muscle a year, But in your 20s, if you train that hard, shit, you should be putting on more than that, If you have good enough genetics, you should. So I couldn't do that, but in hindsight, it sounds stupid, but at the time it's like, yeah, as long as I'm getting 300, 350, 400 grams of protein, I could do whatever I want off season. But just wasn't getting the results that I thought I should be getting, So I always wanted to win shows, and I thought it would be nice to turn pro, but shit, you could say, well, it'd be nice to be a millionaire, but it doesn't mean you're gonna follow the road of a millionaire and actually become a millionaire, right? I wasn't super convinced that I'm actually gonna follow through and become a pro. I just thought it would be cool because I love bodybuilding and I compete. So of course you want to win, right? Same way you want to be a billionaire, right? But it's different between wanting something and actually following all the steps it takes to get there, right? I wasn't delusional in that I thought it would just happen magically, but I just wasn't in a headspace where I was taking it serious enough to actually do it. If you would have asked me back then, I'm sure back then I thought I was, but hindsight is 50-50, I wasn't. So then I did a couple of nationals and I bombed. The first nationals I did, got second call out. Basically, I got second call out twice, right? So I did 2020, then I did 2022. 2019 I had the pneumonia, so I lost all my gains. Then I got back up to 280, and you know how it goes. In my head, I thought I put all my muscle back because the weight, but it was different. It wasn't dense. It wasn't real. It wasn't real tissue. It was that new muscle again. So I put on all this it's old muscle, but it's new old muscle. So it hadn't marinated. So I thought I had all this muscle back. When I dieted down, I just wasn't getting lean because the muscle wasn't real. I was just losing weight, which was water and fluid. So that was a tank, as you would expect. My shape looked really good, but I just didn't have the muscle or condition, So that, I kind of chalked it up as a fluke. That was just, I was bored in COVID and I wanted to compete regardless of the result. I wasn't doing USA's thing. I'm going to win USA's, after a year off. I didn't think that. But I wanted first call out at least, Did I realistically think I was going to get it? Seeing my physique days before getting on stage? I don't know. It's hard to put your mind in that place because you're young and you're working so hard, but probably not. And then 2022, once again, second call out. And I felt like I really worked hard for that one, which I did. That I was all in on the prep, not off season, but in that prep I was all in, and I thought I should look better than that. But at that point, I just didn't have an experience to actually look as good as I should. Did I work with Compton that prep? I think I did. I think I worked with Compton that prep, but like not really. Like I was following his diet and I was doing my own cycles and protocols and stuff. So I can't really say I worked with him. So I don't like to say I worked with somebody unless I'm 100%, because that's not fair for them. So after that show, I'm like, it seems like I want to do my own thing, because it's like I'm hiring a coach, paying him, and then wasting my time and wasting his time by not following it to the T. So the following year, 2023, I did it myself, prepped myself. And that was the hardest at the time. That was the hardest I pushed myself. And I remember leaving the bathroom at the gym, coming out the bathroom at Zoo Culture after leg day, and I collapsed right in front of the bathroom. And then everybody's like, "Oh, you okay? And I didn't collapse in the sense of passing out. I didn't lose consciousness. My legs just gave up under me. Like I couldn't use my legs. My legs just completely went like disabled. My legs just flopped, and I completely fell, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't move my legs. Right, so I'm conscious, so I'm not like passed out. I was just that depleted. And after that hard leg day, I left everything in the gym, and I couldn't stand up. And people helped me up. They're like, "Holy fuck!" And I'm like I said, I prepped myself. So one of my friends is a pro, and Gael is his name. And he was like, "Yo, go get a burger, bro. Like you just need a burger and fries." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." But I don't think I actually got a burger that day, bro. I think I was so crazy about being in shape. I don't think I got a burger that day. I was actually kind of like proud of myself that I collapsed. As stupid as that sounds, I'm kind of like, yo, that's some real shit. You're going to be in shape. If you collapse after leg day, how are you not going to be in shape if you collapse in prep? You got to be in shape, And I was right. I was in shape. And that was the best shape I've been in. Just so happens I was flat as a fucking pancake, So at that point, I was confident I would be in the first call out, because if you're peeled and you have good shape, because if you're just peeled and you have the ugliest shape in the world, you still won't be first call out, unfortunately. But if you're peeled and you have decent shape, you'll be in that first call out at any nationals. I was super flat. I looked like men's physique, but I was peeled. So, boom, I was in shape. Let me not say peeled, because I like to save peeled for like the leanest guy in the show, and that was Joe. Joe was the leanest guy in the show. Well, he was the leanest super for sure. Was he leaner than Josh? I think so, actually. I think he was leaner than Josh. He might have been the leanest guy in the entire show, actually, which is not common for a super. But yeah, so I did that, got first call out. And then that's when I'm like, I haven't really been taking bodybuilding as serious as I act like I have been. And after seeing Joe coming from like being this tiny guy to Mr. USA, it kind of motivated me. I'm like, damn, look what he did just by being really all in. I'm gonna dive deeper into this, deeper than I was before. So that's when I started taking off season seriously, and that was 2023. So I'm talking about 2 years now. So yeah. So now I take off season very seriously, and I could really call myself a real bodybuilder now. So I don't even remember why I went into that story, but yeah, just it's one of those things that I'm 32, but kind of bullshitted a lot, which was, I don't regret it because I needed it. I just wasn't ready. Like, this is something like I gotta love to do, and I loved bodybuilding as far as training, but I didn't love stage. I didn't love dieting. I didn't love posing. I didn't love. I was a good poser just because I used to dance, so I know how to move. But I didn't actually love anything besides the training part, and being strong. Actually, is lifting heavy weights. So that's completely changed. I don't care too much about the strength other than maintaining performance in the prep to maintain muscle. And now I'm really a bodybuilder, and now the physique is the goal. So so this is really when I started bodybuilding, man, for real. No ego lifting, no training just for fun, just to train. Just everything focused on being a better bodybuilder, I'd be lying if I said it was as fun as just doing it my way. But it's like it's something you do, you want something to show for it. So I would like something to show for it. I don't want to just be something I did for fun and that was it. I want a little more, because it's a lot of hard work, man. It's a lot of hard work just to do just a little hobby. Work pretty hard at this, man. So I don't know. It's something I want now, for sure. So we're gonna work, man. Just because I want it doesn't mean I'm gonna get it. Just because I want it doesn't mean I'm gonna get it. But I'll do everything in my power to bring my best and win some shows this year. And if my physique looks where it should be, then it should. I believe it can be good enough to do some really good damage at the national level. Let's say that. I really don't know how I got there, but I think that was a good little conversation. But anyways, I think that's enough rambling. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at BodyFall. Email me for coaching at tmacho with 2 O's at gmail.com. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Also, let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see in the future. Do you guys want to see the dead eating? Or you could care less? Do you guys want to hear me talk more about cycles and stuff? I think I did that last prep. But it's just not something that excites me that much anymore. I mean, it's the same cycles. My cycles don't change. So it's like, whatever I talked about last year, if I did talk about it, I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure it's the same exact shit. Maybe, I don't know if I was doing master on last year at this point, but I am now. So that might be the only difference, if that's even different. But it's just not that exciting, and everybody who really does just know that. I think beginners, including myself when I was a beginner, think there's something magical, like it's the IGF DES or the LR3, or it's really the insulin at this timing. But it's like, nobody cares. Everybody's just taking GH whenever the fuck they can fit it in, and nobody really cares that much. We're just trying to be meticulous with everything is all we do. But I'll talk about it if you want me to talk about it. If it's fun, for you, like it was fun for me when I was in my 20s. It's entertainment, and it was very entertaining to me hearing about all these cycles that I wasn't trying it per se. I was smart enough to understand that you don't just copy people's cycles, but it was still kind of cool to hear it. I don't know. I thought it was cool at the time. But anyway, that catch you next one. Peace.